Okay. There's a meeting in the hall.
Yep. No, you're going to call it to order.
Oh, okay. The regular meeting of the Swansea Board of Board of Selectmen for today, October 19th, is called to order.
Make a motion, we approve the regular meeting minutes of October 5th.
Second. Any additions? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion, we approve non-public meetings minutes 1, 2, and 3 of October 5th.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second. Nothing to add, no? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item on our agenda is public input. Anyone? Cared? Yes. Hi, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, I am Representative Rhodes. I represent Cheshire District 15, which is Winchester, Richmond, Marlborough, Swansea, Detroit. You may remember I've been in front of you a few times to discuss the 30-35 speed limit that is on Holbrook Road. And we discussed the possibility of having that be 30 miles an hour the whole way through there instead of going 30 up to 35 for the pedestrian crossing back down to 30 right after that. And the concern of the board was that the state would come along and say, well, we're actually going to raise the speed limit. So after a lot of phone calls and some collaboration, it was noted for the record that Mr. Lambert said under no uncertain circumstances would he ever come into a town and tell them they actually had to raise a speed limit unless that was the will of the select board. So with all of that, we actually ordered the speed limit study, the traffic study. Mr. Graham and I have been going back and forth with Mr. Lambert from the Department of Transportation over the last several months. Really trying to get the results. It appears that they've been done for, I don't know, maybe a month and a half before we actually got them back. The point is they're here. So I did print these, if I may.
Sure.
Mike probably has them. You have them in your packet? Oh, okay. Okay, so basically, what it comes down to is exactly what we thought. People are speeding through there. And, you know, there's a lot of numbers here. It does say that there is 16 driveways per mile in that section. It says high pedestrian bicyclist activity and no active parking. So what I'm here to ask the select board is to please consider reducing the speed to 30 as it was originally discussed. It sounded to me that that's what you guys wanted to do, but we had to go through all this bureaucracy first, and we've done that. So I don't know what process is now. If it may be best to sit down and go over this together, come up with what you guys think is the best solution to move forward. But that is my request for this.
Okay. So in reading the letter from Mr. Lambert, I didn't get the understanding that we would have that ability to have a discussion about reducing the speed limit to be consistent. My reading of it, which may be incorrect, I appreciate being corrected if I am incorrect, was that the state had determined that they would not make an adjustment to the speed limit and it was going to be held at 35 and 30. But do we have the flexibility? We as a town have that?
Yes, you do have that. Yes, Mr. Chairman. So he does say here that he does think that the 30 should be 30, 35 should be 30. There's no doubt that he clearly says that. He also says that depending on, I don't have to stand and go through all the nuts and bolts of this, but it also says, depending on if they're looking at 85th percentile or 50th percentile, that the speed limit is actually adjusted up or down to like the nearest speed. So what I'm looking at, if I'm looking at it correctly, is people are actually going about 40 miles an hour, it's being adjusted down. So now we have 30, 35, people are actually going 40. And as we stated before, that if the town requests the speed limit to be reduced, then that would be the will of the town. However, he will not just say to raise it, and if I'm remembering correctly, that was the biggest concern of the select board, was that they were really afraid that the state was gonna come along and raise their speed limit. And if you guys, after this was all done, and you decided you didn't want to be 30 miles an hour, that is requested concern. We had to do this first,
Okay,
and again, it is exactly what we knew. People were speeding through there, and it is, just as a reminder, I think it's about 100 feet. I mean, the sign, it literally, where I'm standing is 30, and where that stage is 35. There's a crosswalk, and then it goes back down to 30. Spot. So that is right after we started about 3 or 4 months ago.
but we're going through the process.
But we're going through the process. Exactly.
Okay, I suspect we haven't really talked about it. We were going to talk about it later in our meeting,
Sure.
but we'll have Michael get back to you. I suspect that we'll want to take your guidance.
Sure. If you need me to sit down with you, I'm certainly welcome to do that. Just give me a couple days notice.
Sure, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you very much.
thanks for taking control of this for us and running lead on it. We appreciate your effort.
Sure. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I just want for the record that Robert D. Krebs was present in 319 Old Road Avenue, Swansea, New Hampshire. For the record.
Okay.
You've been leading the charge on this from the get-go. Thank you, Robert. Anyone else in public input? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry?
Linda Foster, 82 West Portland
Did you
Road.
get that?
I have a question about a topic
Could-
that's on the agenda.
Yeah, could you spell your last name for
Sure, I'm
Beverly?
sorry. D is in girl, L-A, S is in Sam, S is in Sam, C is in cat, H-R-O-E-D-E-R.
It's right up there with mine.
And
You
we'll
can do
figure
it.
it out next time.
Just give it to me at the end, if I'm ready to leave.
Okay,
So I'm trying to get to this. One of the topics that's on the agenda for tonight, or after it's discussed,
which topic is it?
the contract with our fire chief.
We have on the agenda at 6:35, which I know because I was late, we're a little bit beyond that. 5:35, yeah, different time zone. So we do have a gentleman, Jim Tempesta, who has requested to speak to that, and we've allocated 10 minutes for that discussion.
Well,
So
the
that
public
would-
have time as well.
Oh,
Or should I
sure.
speak now?
During that period, we can't guarantee that everyone will, because we have other people on our agenda, but we did indicate that we would give that time to Mr. Tempesta.
Well, that's not really open public forum, then it is.
This is not an open public forum. This is a Board of Selectmen's meeting. And that leads me to, I had a few phone calls today. Apparently there was some misinformation that was distributed that tonight's meeting was a town meeting. Town meeting is very, very specific. It's governed by statute. This is not a town meeting. And I explained that to the individual. This is a Board of Selectmen's meeting. It's a public meeting. We do give the public opportunity for input. We do give members of the public opportunity to comment. For example, we have a couple of school board members who are going to speak with regard to the upcoming warrant article that they're proposing. We have Cheshire County coming to speak to us with regard to their status with the emergency medical services. So if people have questions, we do entertain that. But as a standard rule in a Board of Selectmen's meeting in most any community, it is not a public hearing.
My apologies, I will just have an opportunity to address this with the board of selectmen. Considering it affects us as taxpayers.
That is not our plan.
Good to know.
Sure. Jim Tempesta, welcome.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Jimmy Compastor. I have a business. I lived in Vermont for about 20 years. You know, it's a lot for me. I know I only got 10 minutes. This has been on my mind for a week and a half now. I took notes, I did it all. I decided I got 10 minutes. I'm going to come here. I'm not going to go right at what everybody told me all these stories. I feel, and I think you all know, we have a problem in Swansea. And everybody that I've talked to, when I've talked to hundreds of people, the first expression they say to me is, Jimmy, stop, this has been going on for years. Okay? I'm not here, it's not about you guys, it's not about me, it's about everybody in Swansea. I run a co-op in Swansea that we maintain our roads, our sewage, our water, everything. We're probably the top 3 taxpayers, my community that I run in Swansea. And there is one thing that my community needs, and that's a united fire department. And we don't have that. We don't have it. It's simple. Everybody knows. The decision that was made to not renew the fire chief that we have now is a big mistake. And I'm gonna tell you that if this goes through, I think Swansea's gonna see a lot of bad things. I think we're gonna see a collapse of the fire department. I think people could get hurt and killed. I think, and I'm gonna ask the selectmen tonight to reconsider this decision, at least give the town of Swansea and their taxpayer the opportunity, and not only them, but these firemen that are here tonight, that I can't be more grateful for, that they make no money, and they go into burning buildings behind a leader like Billy, and they believe in him as a leader, they go in and save lives. They should have a chance to say their side of the story to these selectmen. These are the leaders of our town. And if they don't allow it, I'm gonna step up as a person and I'm gonna step in, because this has to stop. This has to stop. And I didn't pronounce everybody in town here. I came here on my own. As a taxpayer of Swansea, I'm by myself here. You walk in here with these guys, I'm not best friends with Billy. I'm here because we have to do the right thing. And the right thing is to have a fire chief with the experience that he has run this town. And I feel strongly that he is not allowed to do his job. I know these selectmen. I stood up for all of them. And I'm not here to fight with them. I'm not. I still want to be friends, but I think that you really need to look at this picture and we need to get to the stem of the problem. And the stem of the problem is this. We have 3 fire departments. I've learned all this in this week. I just didn't come here and not load my gun. I asked questions, I talked to people. I got information. I'm not here just trying to start a problem. Well, we have 3 fire departments. There's west, there's center, and there's east. If I'm not mistaken, am I correct on it? So, they're not united. I get that. I hear that the selecting field of the fire chief doesn't have a vision that they're looking for. It doesn't have morale. Morale, let's end that right now. Just look at what we got here. If that be morale, it's 7/8 for the fire department. 7/8 of the fire department, I say 7/8 of the fire department, and the majority of the people that show up on fires, and the other little majority that don't, is then the stem of the problem. He could unite this. We need to unite this. What needs to happen is you, the chief, need to put everybody in this room and say, this is what it's gonna be like. And if you don't want to follow this guideline, you have to go. You have to go. You can take a basket of beautiful apples and keep the 6 rotten ones and throw all the rest. You can't do that. This man can take an interview, go to an extensive interview, unbelievable interview, right? Went through hundreds of people, and they get Billy because he has the knowledge, he has the experience, he has it. So all I'm going to ask tonight is what could be the biggest reason that we should not renew his fire department, his contract, and go out and start all over again and search for another chief for our town. With what's going on in the world, we're gonna lucky if we have somebody that we can put with his experience. Okay? Or the other alternative is this. We let Billy go, these guys go around, do a social video. They say the hell with this, they walk away, we got 3 firemen, and we have a burning house, people dying in the house. Right? Right now. This is the main group that shows up. This is the group that shows up to save people. So all I'm asking you guys is please let's take a really good look at this decision. And I know you got everything going through, I read the whole thing, the pages, but this is the town of Swansea. I'm not here because I don't like you, I don't like you, I don't like Sly. I'm here because I have 115 homes that I run. And we're beside by side. You know, between playground, I don't believe you have people dying and them arguing who should go in the pub, they ain't going on the pub, because I don't like this guy. This is gonna be a family. This is gonna be a strong family, like my restaurant is 30 people. We're a family, we're a team. He can put it together. Let's let him do it. It's wrong, we're gonna go pay tax money again, we're gonna search for people, for what? Well, we have people guy right here. I'm sorry, I'm getting dry mouth. But, you know, I can sit here, I listen to it, I listen to this, I listen to other sides, I listen to, you know, maybe not Billy and Ken and that, but I listen to other people's sides. But it can be fixed, okay? We need to have a selectman. If I was a selectman, I'd say, that's it, let's get everybody together, I'd be over that West Station, fire station, and I'd be sitting everybody around the table and say, what is the problem here? Let's get this fixed. Get center station over here, get East Station over here, let's stay in the room and get this fixed. This ain't about you guys arguing, this is about saving lives in Swansea. That's what it's all about. If things don't happen, if we don't fix this, I'm not gonna let it end. I'm gonna call a town meeting, I'm gonna go around flyers, I'm gonna get the whole town of Swansea involved in this. Because I don't want this is gonna go a bad way if this happens. This ain't gonna go be good, I can tell you right now. Okay, I can tell you right now. I'm not making a smartest guy, I have a lot of common sense. I ran businesses, I ran a park, that they threw away, the president of the one for 2 years, I've been 20 years, I've been a standing ovation. I put that park together because it's common sense what we got here. We have a great team, we have a great crew here, and these poor guys right here, all these people right here, they're suffering right now. And they get in here, they get home from their full-time job, they get calls, they get up in the middle of the night, you know what's wrong? Peanuts, nothing. We should be thanking the ground that they walk on. And they're here. Because they have. So here's the main group that feels strong behind this leader. He brings them into a burning building and they trust him. They trust him. They don't go into the building. They don't know what it is like. Get anything over these meetings tonight, but I keep my head in the pillow because I know what's right and what's wrong. And I'm on the right side of one tonight. And I know that. So we can sit here all night, we can listen to stories from this side, from that side, I listen to every story here. But what we haven't done is we have to just build what we got. We have to fix what we got. Please, I need support. I think we made a big mistake. And I'm asking you guys to select me. I'm not here. Please. This isn't about my friendship with you guys. I'm just asking you guys, please, take a good, strong look at this and give it one chance to let it fix it on its own. Let Billy come to this room and bring everybody in here. And let's see if we can just fix what we got instead of wasting the time and the taxpayers' money to go through it all again and hire another fire team. So I guess I'm going to close that. Thank you for the time. And I do want to make sure that I thank all of you guys. And please stay strong because we need you guys. We need you. Swansea needs you. You guys are a lifeline. You have everything to Swansea. I see other towns falling apart. Don't let it happen in this town. I'll be there for you guys, I'll fight for you guys, so thank you again, and thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda, school board members, Dan Leclerc and Eric Stanley. Welcome.
We have Betty Tatro with us and Chairman of the School Board, Scott Peters.
Hi, Scott. Hi, Betty.
Our presentation is not as arousing as that. But it's
It
some good
it may
information.
arouse some interest.
Like that. You can, use that, Scott.
I can hear.
Scott Peters.
So this is a request that we have. We have a big bond that we're gonna be having
The school board.
in our clothing in March. Bond warrant article for the Nana School District. It is renovation between Troy, Fitzwilliam, Mount Caesar, and Gilsum. This information right here has to do with everything with Mount Caesar and Cutler. The proposal is that we are gonna close Cutler down, put an addition on Mount Caesar and have all the students in one school. We're gonna add on a big gymnasium, another 2 floors of classrooms. And what we're asking is if we could put one of these in the town hall, the Mount Caesar Library, and possibly the Stratton Library, so the residents can get all the information on the ideas and proposals that we're asking for. Basically, we have such a backlog of issues. Most of them are more security issues and safety issues that it's gonna take up to 10 to 20 years to fix all of these issues we have in our school district. Along with that, with inflation and the cost of everything keep going up, it's gonna actually be cheaper to put together a bond to fix all these things and do the renovation project. It's gonna, yeah, we'll get state funding. It's gonna cover up to 50. Yeah, we're hopefully gonna cover up to 55% of the entire project throughout the district. It will actually save the taxpayer money to do it this way as opposed to doing it the way we've done it in the past on warrant articles, $1 million a year. Like I said, at that point, you know, we'll just get further and further behind and not be able to catch up on all the projects that we have. So if people here would like to take a pamphlet before they leave, they're more than welcome to. It outlines everything that we plan on doing in at Mount Caesar and Cutler. There's also a website that we have created. It's mrsdproject.com that has more information in there. And literally details everything we've been doing over the past couple of years, the studies that we've done with Barker and Associates, all the issues that our schools actually have, the cost of it, and give you a more overview of exactly what's gonna happen. What it comes down to is this is the best scenario that we came up with that is gonna help lower taxes, gonna be in the best interest of our students, and it's gonna offer the most services for our community. So we're just asking you guys if we can put these up at the town hall, the Mount Caesar Union Library, and hopefully maybe the Stratton Library as well.
We can't speak for the library.
Yeah, we can't speak for the libraries, but we'd be happy to have information at town hall and we can put you in touch with the contacts at the libraries.
Okay,
So they're separate entities, so we'll be
Okay.
happy to put you in touch.
is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, Scott, or Betty, say anything like that?
The,
The thing I like about it is that it doesn't fit one town against another, it fixes all of them. The prior to this, it's been, oh, we'll fix it with Fitzwilliam, oh, we'll fix Gilson, and this way, we fix all of them at the same time.
sure. Do you have numbers available or is it premature with regard to the bond?
So, hi, Scott Peters, Troy. The project as a whole is going to cost somewhere between 40 and 41 million. The state funding will accommodate up to 55% of that. And the state is currently evaluating every school district that has applied for funding. And we'll get word on how much they are going to award us sometime in the summer. That will determine the price of the bond we would need to raise. And we would not raise the bond if the state funding doesn't come through, right? So the warrant article will be phrased that way. It says if and only if the state awards the funds and in the biennium chooses to fund the state aid programs, which they have chosen to do and not do, depending on the year. Right, so there's a number of contingencies where we need a vote in March from all of the towns to agree to raise the bond portion, but then depending on the state coming through their part of it.
Great. Sounds like we got a good plan this time. It seems like it's been well thought out, and
Yeah,
I
we,
agree with Betty. It seems to encompass all the communities.
yeah, the entire school board, all of us have been working really hard and diligently over the past couple of years, figuring out. And we've actually been to all the elementary schools multiple times. We've had public information sessions. We've been really trying to get the word out and getting the word back from the public too, and what they would like to see in our elementary schools as well, because they're the ones that are sending their kids there, you know? So we really want to make sure that everybody's involved in what we're doing. And we try to get as much input as possible. And if anybody else has any input, I think we have. Yeah, that's made up of some teachers, town people, or whatever, that have been helping out and figuring out ways to, you know, get more information, get the word out. So, and any input or anything is always welcome. You can find any of our emails on our Monadnock website, so feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or anything.
Great, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Will expanded parking be a priority? Because I know even with the current usage between drop off and pickup, and then with sports, people parking on the sidewalks, and hope parking can be addressed as part of that, especially if you're sending more use.
So at Mount Caesar right now, their plan is we're gonna be pushing the softball field back towards the football field, and I think we're pushing the football field back as well. The parking lot's gonna be where the softball field is, and actually bus drop off is gonna be right about where the, yeah, where the playground is right now. So it's gonna be a secured entrance on the backside of the school, so it'll be a lot safer. You won't have the backup of the cars going both ways, trying to get in and out at Mount Caesar, and it'll be a lot more accommodating.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Scott. Thank you, Betty. Appreciate it. Next item on our agenda is Cheshire County officials. County Administrator Chris Coates. Commissioner Jack Wozmak. Welcome. How are you?
Okay, today. So thank you for taking the time to hear us again. We wanted to give you an update where we are. For those in the audience that may not know the history behind where we are today with the EMS services through the county, want to start off with just some background. In 2020, June or July of 2020, we had some CARES money that came our way. That was the first relief funds that came our way. And we were approached at that time by the Deluzios to be able to see if they needed IV pumps and ventilators in their ambulance. And they asked if we could help with that. So we were able to utilize $70,000 to give them that money so that they could purchase those items for their ambulances. In January of 2021, Commissioner Wozmak and I went to the Deluzios and said, how else can we help you? At that meeting, they said, would you buy us now? And there was reason for it that had been stated in the Sentinel. So we weren't ready for that reply. We actually asked them if there was any other private company that may look at wanting to come in and take that on. And for legitimate reasons, there aren't. You know, when AMR comes in, they like to going to Manchester, Nashville, because there's one town that they can have one contract with, not multiple towns where they have contract, and they like to do interfacility transfers. That's what they like to do. That's where the financial monies are. So we looked at all that. We went back, really talked about how we wanted to move forward, clearly understanding what we were taking on. Prior to this, when I took this position as county administrator, and Commissioner Wozniak was actually in my position prior to that, we were having talks with chiefs all the time. And they were saying that there's a real issue, and especially on the EMS side, you know, and they didn't know how to look at it, how to move forward. And that, and it's been in the signal that there's been a struggle around EMS services for a multitude of reasons. So we moved forward and decided to go into negotiations with Deluzio. And for about a year and a little more than a year, we thought we had a deal. We actually announced an MOU, memorandum of understanding, that allowed us, we had a price and we're going to move forward. There's a purchase sales agreement. There's many reasons why, and due to an NDA and other issues, I can't really get into that, but we just couldn't get the goal line. But we knew that there was a need, and so we started heading down that road ourselves. We saw that the Strongville property was available for purchase right here in Swansea. Know the family well, grew up with the family here. Actually swam in the pool in the backyard that was there prior some years ago. And so we looked at it and thought this might be the perfect scenario for us, because if we were to build something, we could have easy access wherever we needed to go. We also know that we had to, at the same time, we were working with Senator Shaheen, Senator Hassan, and Congresswoman Custer to, if they were going to have a second relief fund monies come through, we wanted to have the ability to have the money sent directly to us instead of to the state. We're very grateful to the state that they gave us some CARES money, but we feel like we know our neighborhood better. So we work with them. We actually have language and bills that we helped develop. And we knew it because we knew that with the CARES monies, counties or cities with over 500,000 population got their money directly. If we could do it there, they could do it with us. So we were able to get that passed through. And we received monies, which everybody I think is aware of. We received American Rescue Plan fundings. Some of that monies came back to you because we designated $1 million back to towns in the city of Keene. And we utilized that money so that we can get a startup by purchasing vehicles, building the facility that you're seeing, the 6-bay garage, the administrative wing, and then the house. That house is actually going to be for traveling nurses that we are housing, because we right now are competing with multiple scenarios across all of New England, everywhere, where they're finding housing for people. So we thought that was a great place to have nurses stay. We're already using 2 rental properties and have 8 traveling nurses for LNA in those homes. And it gives us a leg up of keeping people here. So that will be one, the administrative wing in the 6-bay. And so we've been working extremely hard to get up and running. I want to, where did they go? Oh, thank God. So you have Commissioner Wozniak, but you also have, we hired Chief Spain, who is the first EMS director here, and Deputy Chief, and that is Chad Butler here. And so we're in the process of hiring. And Jack, I don't know if I've missed anything, but you want to just give some insight too, but I wanted to give the background because I wanted to make sure you understand where we've come from and why we continue to move forward on this project and how we're utilizing American Rescue Plan funds to get this up and running and to be a partner. This is not, I want to make this very clear, this is not us coming in to take on or take over. This is ours to come in and to support. And if towns want to contract with us, they can. You know, Cheshire Medical Center is looking to really work with us on interfacility transfers, which you know is financially where the money really is. And if you're going to do a 9-1, you got to have that side of it too. So there's a balancing act, but we want to be partners. We know that we have strong departments everywhere around the county. We also know that some of them are struggling more than others. And how do we support that so that when that moment in time comes, when somebody's at need of our services, we can be there. And at some point down the road, possibly develop us, not just a hub, but a spoke, but that's things we can talk about, Jack.
Yeah, good meeting, thanks. Yeah, so, hey, we're building a new building, we'll have 8 ambulances by the time all of you were to come in. We'll have very happy, medic, because that vehicle, and, the chief's gonna talk a little bit about the rollout. We have several phases coming here, the ambulance, beginning in service. Like I say, at the end of the day, we'll have, really more ambulances in service than any other community in the county, in the region. So that process, that building is due to be completed around December 5th. And Chad and Mike are in the process of fitting out the ambulances now, getting up, and doing interviews with quite a few people already, and really pretty straightforward. I mean, it's got a fair amount of practice for the last year. But I do want to introduce Chief Spain and just let him talk a little bit. We can give you a few minutes. I know we only got 20 minutes, but Chris already ate through 2/3 of it. But I'm not saying you talk a lot. But Chief, why don't you just talk a little bit about the plan? First of all, I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to see such a good turnout, and thank you. This is what we're doing. We're looking at emergency services. Phase 1 right now is we put the call for applications out. We're in the process of interviewing people. The EMT level, at the AMT level, and at the paramedic level. Our goal right now is at 6 o'clock in the morning on November 14th, we will go live. What our goal is at this point is to have the interceptor up with the paramedic 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're going to work with an ALS ambulance that will be up 24 hours, 7 days a week. Now, we just received information for the interfacility transfers from Cheshire Hospital, or I'm sorry, Medical Center. And I think I brought my pet fly here. But we're looking at 2 other ambulances up and going for an 18-hour tour, Monday through Friday, from 6 in the morning till midnight. With that being said, from the statistics we have, that's going to meet the demand for the hospital 92% of the time. With that being said, in the future, in December, we're going to take delivery of 3 more ambulances. Probably we're getting outfitted, state approved, et cetera. Probably run the middle of January. We'll have at that time a total of 6 ambulances up and functioning. And then we're also going to have, the flight car at that point. That's the end of phase 1. Phase 2 starts probably in March. We're supposed to get another vehicle, which will be a 4-wheel drive vehicle. So being able to work with the county, being able to make it to areas in the county. And lastly, we'll have our last ambulance up. It's going to be toward the middle of July of 2023. Then we at that point, we're going to go into phase 3. As Chris brought up, given the gravity of this community, when I say the community of 700 plus square miles, we need to look at how can we serve all the communities in as expeditiously as possible. So how are we going to do that? We're going to look at substations, or as Chris calls it, spokes. Having vehicles strategically placed around the county that if an emergency comes in, a medical emergency comes in, that we will be able to get closer, get to the patient closer, or fast, I should say, but also working with the local departments. You all know your town better than I do. So we're working as far as education. How can we work as a team? How can we work to make the best outcome for the patient? And that's really what the goal is. So with that being said, I'm hoping by the latter part of 2023, first part of 2024, We've got enough data, we've got enough information that we can spread our wings. Now, with that being said, depending on how it is, maybe we'll have an additional fly car. Maybe we're gonna have an additional vehicle. I don't know at this point. But what I can say is we're flexible enough. We are also operationally mobile that we can make changes. We can work to meet your needs. And that's where I'm gonna need your help. This is where the deputy chief's gonna need your help. What do you need? We're not here to take over. Where I came from, the model was we have your back. We're not here to take over. We're here to accent. There's plenty of room for everybody. There's unfortunately, many of us are maturing. We're not getting older, but we're maturing and we have more medical problems. That's what we're here to do. In a very simple, very straightforward approach. We're here to help.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
And, you know, I met the chief yesterday at a meeting or the day before, we talked. We're gonna, you know, work together. You tell me what you need. Because I really don't know, and that's what we had our conversation on yesterday. You know, how can we be as a team? How can we be effective? I need your input. I may have some ideas from where I've come from. But I brought on the deputy chief to set up the ambulances, because where I came from, they're kind of set up a little bit different. I'm not here to change anything, I'm just here to acclimate and to make things better.
Just one last thing for me is, I want to thank you all. Mike, you've been a great asset. Scott, you've been a great asset. And I mean, you two, thank you very much. But especially Mike Jasmine, really has been, we needed guidance on this project. He's been right there to do whatever to help us and guide us through that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You know, and lastly, if you want to take a tour of what's going on there, this is not Secret Squirrel. Get a hold of the deputy chief or myself, we'll take you around. We'll show you what we've got. This is not rocket science. We're here to work as a team. But thank you very much for your time and your interest. And I'm available any time of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you want anything, we will be here. Again, thank you, folks.
Welcome to town. What's the next one? Yeah. Is Josh not here? Oh, Josh is here. I think he's here. But yeah.
Josh? Oh, sorry. Didn't see
you with the reflective on.
Welcome. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Good, thank you. So you want about that?
Yeah, fortunately, we ran into some issues with our current one. We've had it for 5.5 years now. And we're averaging 1,100 hours per year. So we're at a total of 6,100 hours. A couple of weeks ago, we had some issues with the wiring harness. And then there was wiring harness, their code issues. And the part that needs 4 months out. 4 months out. And so we're pretty much dead in the water right now. So I attached some pictures of the warehouse to show kind of how much it backs everything up. And then on the other page is the CIP information on it. This really kind of threw a kink in that plan. Originally what I was going to do was repair the current one and then add a second one to cover for downtime. If we did run into something like this, I blew that out of water. But so now we had a CIP meeting the other day and we were talking about moving into this year and then pushing out the other one a little farther out. So it'll still be a 2-year-old machine. So this machine went into any major issues with that.
The one that you're considering? Which is a 2-year machine?
The one I'm considering, yeah. So that one, the 2 year, it'll be 2 years old at that time. So originally it was gonna be Bobcat for just recycling loading trucks, handling materials, stuff like that. Basically stay up by the main building. And then the secondary Bobcat is gonna be a track one that would have a higher lift capacity, that would be mainly maintain containers, burn pit, compost, pile, stuff like that. So the idea of the whole thing is to kind of balance it out so we'll get a longer lifespan out of them. Because before this all happened, I was gonna just do some minor maintenance on the current one. And then there was just one code, but it was a small issue, so it wasn't gonna be much repair, but with all this happening, so pushed all that, but so now we had to rent it for a week. And in the 7 days, you put 45 hours on it. And people cancel gas, so definitely burned in a lot, and it just kind of showed even more the importance of having a backup machine for that. But with a newer model for now, I don't think we'll run into any issues. The only downtime I foresee is small maintenance, oil change, filters, stuff like that. So the estimate from Bobcat on the smaller one, our current one was 1,900 pounds, and this one was 2,300 pounds. So it'll still give us a little bit of playroom and still upgrade the machine a bit, but it's gonna be a little more valuable in the back end, with using double bales instead of one, making trips quicker. So the one that was looking to purchase for this year was 63,500, but then the $8,000 trade-in. And I was talking to the salesman last night, he was saying that there might be some more wiggle room to go out of it.
Did you say 63?
That's the original price, yeah. With
Oh, it's not mine, unless I'm looking.
oh, that was the second one.
Oh, the second, because this
Yes.
one's 66.
Yeah. There should be a,
Josh, this is the smaller of the two?
Yes.
63, okay.
So this is the one that's S64.
yes, yep. So the.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was looking
No.
at the quotes.
So then the $8,000 trade-in, and then an addition of new solid tires to replace those, so that would add it to roughly 59,000. The salesman was going to talk with his sales manager about it and see if he could shave him more off the price for us. And he said he knows there is a discount if we write a check for the purchase of it. It's a $4,000 discount. And then also New Hampshire Beautiful has a grant program still going for up to 20%. And then they cap it at that, so. And that one's not a guarantee, but we haven't used it in a couple of years, so I don't think we'll have an issue being able to get it this time.
So the 59,000 would be reduced by 4 and then potentially 20% of
Yes,
that balance.
yep. And then if the salesman takes off any more after that, we may still be able to wiggle something for us, so. How would that
So we could be down in the mid to low 40s.
potentially, yes. Would be nice.
It would be helpful.
And then it won't screw up the 25, 26 year for the CIP plan. So we kind of level that out.
Is it worth keeping the existing one and putting in the part and using that as a backup?
I did think about that, because we've already got about 2,800 into it right now with the current issues, and then thinking more, we found that the wire harness was in several spots. So my only concern with that is that with the wire harness, it's still pressing codes up, and it's gonna need more work. That was my only concern with it. And Mike and I were actually talking a couple months ago about that. I was saying how really just need some bearings in the front, odds and ends, and typical maintenance stuff. Put in all new belts a couple months ago, so it's really just sinking in on me now. But
The 6,000 hours, you said is kind of the life of the machine anyway.
yeah, and I mean, it's a hard 6,000 hours too. And, but it's also at the point where I've done most of the heavy lifting with it, per se, and I've got all the layout. So really the last part is just maintaining stuff and So the compost and brush is probably the only thing that's really gonna be a pull off for it. Yeah, I think we got most of the heavy lifting out of the way already, so. And that'll help in the long term, the secondary machine. 6,000 hours to be 10 years with one of those, that's the thing, we have to offset it and they're not constantly just doing it.
Steve said it wouldn't affect the CIP budget for that because moving it to this year instead of next year wouldn't really affect anything.
Good to hear. First good news I think we've heard from him with regard to the CIP.
Can you count on the grant, Josh, or should we assume that you don't get it and then spend less?
I mean, probably assume not getting it, but I'm sure.
Pretty
we'll get it.
confident.
Yeah, it's one of those pretty positive we'll get it, but
So 59 minus 4
yep,
for the discount.
yep.
We're
And
at
then-
55 and then you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, and that should cover the tires too, so that'll be perfect. I'll just see if I'll get making some difference here at some point, so I won't worry about that.
So 55.
Yeah, I think that'll be important.
Motion? Make the motion to authorize the expenditure of up to 55,000 from the recycling center revolving fund. Purchase the new Bobcat.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
What else you got, Josh?
Um,
How we doing with the exterior lights now that
Yeah,
it's getting darker a little bit earlier?
That's the next project. I just finished going through and cleaning the waste oil furnace and getting all the dust that's settled over the summer on and off. And prepping oil, and now we're just kind of weatherproofing the inside, keep the draft out and stuck up on it pretty quick.
I think it's catching up a lot of us pretty quick.
Yeah, so once we get the Bobcat, we'll set up that same thing, we'll just put containers out for C&D, stuff like that, that way people aren't driving back there, and pitch black. Any brush loads will put them off to the side, just push them there, so.
And the lights on the building, are those fully operational?
I believe there's one or two that need to be replaced, but got the overhang lights are good, and then I think it's just top end lights that have been going up, so I just got to do those with that.
So we can get that before the season.
Yes, yeah. That should be good, yeah.
Appreciate all y'all are doing. We got a good team down there.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yes. Team effort.
All the job. What's that?
Team effort, that's for sure.
Usually works best that way.
Yeah.
That's your apology. Skip. Next item on our agenda is, thanks a lot, Josh, is the sale of town-owned property. Map 64, lot 3-6 and map 64, lot 3-3.
So these are two lots that the town owns through tax deeding off Rabbit Hollow Road. They're backland. Why the planning board never created them, I'll never know, but we ended up with them through tax deeding and trying to take advantage of relatively good real estate market. We listed these on municipal bid. They ended up both being successfully bid on by abutters, which is ideal. The 9.4 acre lot is selling for $10,800 to Evelyn Maldonado. And the 10.7 acre lot is selling to Ronald Guyette for $7,700. So I'd be looking for the board to authorize entering into a purchase and sale agreement. We'll prepare that and prepare deeds to close as soon as possible.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any further discussion? Probably all set.
I don't have it. Michael, you can just give it to me in a separate piece of paper or.
Yeah, I can give you copies of these that have the names. and the amounts.
All set? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on our agenda is a requested expenditure design of improvements to North Winchester and California streets.
So this is a project we were awarded Northern Borders Regional Commission grant funding for. They awarded less than we had anticipated. We discussed it at great length with the CIP committee. And so this will get the process started and also give us an opportunity to work with the engineers to kind of Rubik's Cube some different options to try to find a scope that'll work within our budget, looking at a couple different options for those roads. So I'd like to get started with survey and engineering.
What's the plan for that part of California Street?
So they've bid this, or they proposed 4 different options. Total, not just for California, but they're basically exploring opportunities for one-way traffic on either road, seeing what might work and what might work best within the scope, and also working with DOT since they both dump off onto Route 10. So basically, we'll work on exploring different options to see what best
What's
fits.
the timing?
So the schedule is, they would look to have conceptual design January to March 2023, final design spring, summer of 2023, and then construction of 2024.
There'll be public hearings as part of that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'll make the motion.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
I,
Do you have that, Beverly?
I do.
Next item on our agenda is the 2023 employee health insurance rates. Not quite like last year.
Nope, not like last year. So this year we're looking at an increase of 11.5%, 11.7%. We had significant savings last year, which we knew potentially with, people foregoing medical things during the pandemic, that we might have an increase in spending. So we're still in good shape compared to where we've been over several years, but it is, it is an increase. But I'd look for you to authorize me to sign the renewal documents with Health Trust.
Is there an opportunity to put it out for bid, or do you feel this is our best?
I think this is our best option at this point. We changed plans last year. I think give it another year and see how that's working at least.
Anybody else?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is a letter of resignation. Jay House resigns unfortunately from a Rail Trail Advisory Committee. Motion to accept
I'll make the motion to accept.
with regret.
With regret.
Look forward to having him come back, and he said he'd continue to work on the roads in his spare time, so. Are committed. All in favor?
Aye.
The August expenditure and revenue report.
Nothing too noteworthy, a
Yeah, a little different.
little different format, but getting back on schedule. So I think it'll be working well, but nothing noteworthy major.
The state DOT decision regarding the request to lower the speed limit based on what Jennifer said. Is that something we should discuss tonight, or do you want to get together with Jennifer and enlighten us next week?
Either way, or Mr. Lambert from the state indicated he'd be willing to come out and meet with us and or discuss it. So maybe that's an avenue as well, but with whatever the board's pleasure is. I don't know enough about the legality related to what Representative Rhodes was suggesting, so I don't feel prepared to discuss that tonight, but we can discuss the boards. I think we know what the board's pleasure is, where we'd like it to go, how to get there. I can't answer at this point.
So you all get together in between and figure that out.
Happy to do that.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Appreciate it. Thanks, John. Land use board review of governmental uses. We got it split down the middle.
Split decisions. That's something that was brought to the board's attention specifically related to Cal Ripken use of the South Road fields when they proposed some improvements. We sent them through the planning board process on an advisory basis. And then there was a question brought, I think, both by the planning board and by a butter about whether that would be required or not. So we solicited we solicited one opinion, then we solicited another opinion. So they are somewhat conflicting in their opinions.
What do you suggest?
I suggest continuing to go through the advisory discussion. I think that was very beneficial to the process, but I think I agree with the interpretation that it is advisory. They are town-owned properties. They are used part of the year by the town. We still maintain control over them year round. So
I agree with that. And I think that it would be helpful if you talk with Sarah about educating the boards that we take the advisory aspect of it seriously. And I know there's a feeling on the part of both boards that when the municipality Swansea comes to them, it's just strictly advisory, so why are they there? But as you can point out, along with Ashley, the project that was originally proposed and what it became a much better project as a result of the role of the planning board. So
Absolutely.
we want to make sure they understand that it's.
We take it
might be
seriously.
advisory, but very helpful.
Agreed.
Okay. Anyone else?
Good.
All right. Any non-publics?
Yes, I have one for personnel.
Okay.
Special
That
promotion.
concludes the public portion of our meeting. We let you know, we did hear the comments that Jim Tempesta made. And we certainly understand your presence here and appreciate it. Thank you. So you can. Up top tomorrow morning. You can, what's that? Up top tomorrow morning. Sure. That's appreciate it. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Hope that was enough time for you.
Yeah, no, we're gonna send you a contract to a template of what we're looking at, and we can also send you financial. What we would be looking at. I know you guys are excellent currently, but it's good to have that.
Absolutely. Go there.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Chris, how are you?
Thanks.
Good to see you. Hey, Bill. Thanks. You know that Jeffrey,
Okay, thanks, Jim.
you know how they moved it to Brand, right? The project's now in town, so they're looking at.
Oh, okay.
Ringe has an ordinance that doesn't allow stuff like regional planning commission in their town. And they also have an ordinance where they can't accept any HUD money. So, yeah, so do we want to then move over to them and just take it on and just say, yeah, here's the $500,000 or $750 for the community development block? Oh, we're not gonna go to town, that's their, but it's workforce housing, it's 28 units. Oh, thank you, sir. I'm gonna give you a call. I want you to come on.
Hey, Dory.
On a Saturday, if that's all right with you. On the radio, my radio show that I do on Saturday. All right.
We've gone through the new business and then, well, we listened to what was told to us.
That was Jimmy Tempesta.
Yeah. And so,
That's totally separate.
right, so
Then
what
you
we-
put on here, consideration of new business, if it's consideration of new business, we should have heard it. We only heard you. We didn't hear you. Or you, or you, or you.
so what we're gonna do, we have a non-public tonight. We want to have an opportunity to discuss amongst ourselves what was said at a meeting last Monday. It was a meeting of all 500 people, as well as what was said. And then.
So is there going to be another selectmen's meeting before there's a job? There will be.
Yeah.
'Cause if
But
It's
they
like
need to be in the
tabling,
next
it's like tabling.
Yeah.
So,
So that's what's happening.
right,
yes.
because we had new
Because I
information.
came
tonight.
only for that, obviously,
Yeah.
and if there was consideration of new business, I thought that. I didn't know it was just. So we're basically just.
But
tabling
that's how
it.
you table it, and then
Yeah.
when, we're gonna go over the new information next week, whenever. It'll be posted again.
I think what people have to understand, we're not at liberty to discuss. We can listen.
Right, but if it was consideration of new business and you did discuss it, then we would be able to speak, would we not? It's new business.
necessarily.
It's not a public, it's
It's a public meeting, but not a public hearing. So we have public input.
Mhm.
There would be an opportunity then, if it's on our agenda for next week, for somebody to speak to it at that point. But if we just, it's an employment situation. And it's part of our role. We're not taking public input on that.
Mr.
It's
Chairman,
not a- it's
if I
not a
may, just from the
conversation.
legal point of view, from a right to know law, I mean, I think you're asking about that. At a board meeting, a selectmen's meeting, the public has a right to hear what is being said, but they do not necessarily have a right to speak unless the board grants that. That is in the right to know law. At a public hearing, that's a whole different ballgame.
But there will be no public hearing. It's just you folks making the decision, am I correct?
It's an employment decision with the department head.
But you can submit anything you want in writing through Michael at the town hall to us.
All right, so I don't want to take up your time. I know you're very busy. So I'm gonna leave because I don't want to bother you or burden you. But my understanding is we're not going to discuss at all tonight about the job posting for a new fire chief because we heard that there's a motion to reconsider. Right, that was Jimmy's motion, was like a motion to reconsider.
Not only him, but in the meeting that we had Monday, we had several people that asked us to reconsider our decision. And so we'll take the combination of all of that and make a determination as to whether we go along. If we choose to reconsider, then obviously we would go one direction. If we choose to maintain the position that we've taken, then at our next meeting, we will openly discuss the job posting item and the time frame and the selection of the committee and that type of information.
All right. Well, just so you know, I went to the city of Teams infrastructure meeting.
I'm sorry?
I went to the city of Teams infrastructure meeting most recently because we're doing the downtown.
Yeah.
More people showed up here tonight. This for the fire chief than they did. About the infrastructure that's going to cost us $1 gazillion.
And
So I just.
disruptive to business as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dory. Okay, what are we going on the mic?
Would be for a personnel or discipline, promotion and compensation of the public employees.
Thank you, chief. We appreciate your time.
Was he here for anything in particular? I'll make the motion.
Second.
Colby, Walker, Garazinski.
Aye.
Alrighty, thanks.